Hey everyone, it's Misty from TheJollyFatElf. Welcome back. Today I am rebooting my holiday card series. Some things happened that prevented me from continuing the last series, but now I have a new camera and a new setup, and hopefully I can get some videos made. So today we're going to start with this gorgeous stamp set from Stampin' Up! Called Beautiful Piece, and it is a photopolymer stamp set. And it comes with 4 stamps. It comes with this large stained glass stamp. It comes with this star, and then we have 2 sentiments. And today I'm going to show you how to make this look like stained glass. So let's get started. And I have to apologize for my voice. I'm getting over a head cold. So what we're going to do today is we're going to actually be embossing on vellum. And I know that's probably hard to see. So we are going to emboss our image on vellum, and you can do this in 1 and 2 colors. You can either do black or you can use silver. I'm going to use black today, but I think silver or black both give a really nice leaded glass look. So I've mounted the main image on my Fisker stamp press, and I'm first going to, and I've cut a piece of vellum 3.5 inches wide by 4 or 5 inches tall. You just need it to be a little bit longer than the image because we are going to be cutting it out. So I'm going to take my embossing buddy from Stampin' Up! And I'm going to make sure that I get powder all over. This is going to prevent the embossing powder from sticking to where we don't want it to be. And then I'm going to use Versamark ink. You want a wet, sticky ink for embossing. I'm just going to make sure that I really ink this up. And I'm using my stamp press because right now I don't have a block big enough to handle this image, and I think I just swapped some of it off with my finger. Of course I probably did. Add it back on there. So like I said, it doesn't have to be centered or anything because we are going to be cutting this out. So I'm just going to walk my fingers up and down the stamp on the stamp press to make sure I get a good impression. And since this is vellum, you won't be able to see it until I pour some embossing powder on it. So I, like many of you, probably keep your embossing powder in a Tupperware, but I also keep some in these frog tape containers, which is weird, but we have a lot of them because we've been doing a lot of painting around the house. And it clips on, and you're basically recycling. So there's an idea for you. Now, the one issue with black embossing powder is it tends to be so much more messier than any other color. So let me get this. And I'm actually going to pour this embossing powder on with this spoon over my container so I can just funnel it back in. Get this back out of the way. Now, one of the tricks to embossing on vellum is that you really want your heat gun hot. So I'm going to bring in my heat gun and I'm going to let it heat up. And that will prevent some of our warping. Move this back out of the way. Now, one of the tricks to embossing on vellum is that you really want your heat gun hot. So I'm going to bring in my heat gun and I'm going to let it heat up. And that will prevent some of our warping. If you wanted to, you could color this with blendabilities, with any other alcohol markers you have, such as Sharpies, Bic Pen, Spectrum Noir, or even with Copics. But I like the soft look of the Stampin' Write markers. So I'm going to turn it over. Now, one thing I will warn you about is bleeding. The markers are water-based, so on this slick surface like vellum, they will smear if you touch it. So you really have to be careful with it. So if you do make a mistake, sorry, you can, I'll show you in case that happens. You can cover it up with your, Uniball Signo White gel pen, and I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so I have it turned over, and I'm actually going to start with their skin. And for their skin, I'm going to use crisp cantaloupe. And what I would suggest is that you practice on an extra sheet of vellum if you have one laying around, so you can pick the colors that you like. I really like the look of this crisp cantaloupe. So let me zoom in a little bit. Wrong way. Okay, so I'm going to color on their skin. And you want to make sure you go all the way up to the black line. And it's going to look kind of crazy when you first start, but I promise it will tone down. Okay. Next color I'm going to use is Baked Brown Sugar, and that's going to be for Mary's hair and then Joseph's beard. And I'm going to take my Daffodil Delight and I'm going to color over the star on the front because I do want that more pronounced. Okay, so that's it for coloring. So let me grab my scissors. I'm going to cut this out real quick and then we'll move on to the card. And there we have it. Absolutely gorgeous. So let me show you the card base that I have going. Move this out of the way. I took a piece of Whisper White cardstock and I cut it at 4 1/4, scored it at 5 1/2. On top of that, I have a Night of Navy mat that measures 4 by 5 1/4. A piece of the All Is Calm designer specialty paper stack that's in the holiday catalog. It is the reverse side of this green. So I love this paper. The snowflakes remind me of crosses, and that's why I thought it would be really nice to use this paper. I've also created another mat using Night of Navy that measures 3 by 4 3/4. Oh, excuse me, the designer series paper measures 3 3/4 by 5. I have a Whisper White 9 by 3 1/4 and then 4 1/2. And we're gonna attach our stained glass piece using liquid glue and glue dots. Now you want to be careful. I'm actually going to use my glue stick and I'm going to add just a bit of glue on the very bottom. And I'm going to use my, like I said, the color may smear. So I'm going to use my paint, then my paintbrush to add some glue. Hopefully you can see what I did there. I just added some dots of glue on the very bottom. And then I'm going to use some glue dots on and then one on the tip. Okay, and then we're going to attach this to our card base. Can you tell I'm having a hard time finding the camera? Sorry guys. Yay, I didn't smear it this time. The first time I did this, I had marker everywhere. Okay, so I've stamped the sentiment for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given. And I've stamped that on a piece of Whisper White that measures 3 1/2 by 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to mount that on a piece of Night of Navy that's 3 3/4 by 1. Let me grab my snail adhesive. It's like, what did I do with my snail? Holy Toledo, Ohio. You can tell I'm a little bit rusty, right? And I made a boo-boo on this side. That's all right, we're gonna cover it up. That's why all pieces of paper have 2 sides, right? Okay, I'm gonna mount this on this piece of Night of Navy. Okay, and then I'm going to take our rhinestones and I like the ellipses, so I'm going to take these small ones. I probably should have grabbed a pokey tool. You guys will forgive me, right, if this video is crazy. It's not my intent. I promise. But even make sure those are straight. One in the middle is a little higher. Okay, so I've added some rhinestones, and I'm going to attach this with some dimensionals. So I'm going to put 2 I don't want to skimp on, because, dimensionals, because I don't want this sentiment to collapse as I mail it to its recipient. So these will probably be our Christmas cards this year. I haven't quite decided. I will be making them this year though. Oh, I think I mentioned that in another video that I never got around to it, and we were in CVS and Walgreens 2 days before Christmas, and it was a mad dash. So let me move all this stuff out of the way. I'm going to add my sentiment just below baby Jesus. Get this straight on my mat. And that's the card. Didn't that turn out so pretty? Absolutely love it. Let me zoom out for you. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this card. I hope you'll give this method a try. And if you do, leave me a link to your picture. I would love to see it. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. I'm TheJollyFatElf. And thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.